Well, we've heard about churches opening their doors this weekend, but for some churches, it may not have been a choice due to a decline in donations because of the coronavirus pandemic. Here's how faith fits in. A lot of people may not think of the church as a business.
That's the whole idea of operations. The salaries, bills, we create jobs, the same things you do in the secular world. We provide value to the community, same thing that a business does. We are essential in that matter.
And like most businesses, the COVID-19 pandemic has had an effect on the bottom line. According to a recent survey taken by stateoftheplate.info, 65% of churches have seen a decline in giving since mid-March. 27 reported giving as steady, and 8% seeing giving going up. Banks have offered places of worship loans to help offset expenses, but at some point, that money will run out, forcing churches to make the tough decision on when to reopen. But as Bishop Lindsey states, even that will create more expenses.
This idea of reopening the church is going to require churches, as I said, to extend their budgets. We're going to have to bring in professional companies to clean and sanitize our churches. We're going to have to provide markers to designate where people can sit, where people can stand, where people can fellowship and congregate. We're going to have to provide hand sanitizer stations. There's going to be a new paradigm. We're not going to be able to be as intimate in worship as we once were.
Until then, churches are stepping up online giving as a way to continue our support.
We use Cash App, we use PayPal, we use text to give. And then for my older members, they're still writing checks and using a stamp and putting that in the mail. This idea of electronic giving is now on us, and we have to embrace it once we reopen and if we're going to survive.
Yeah, some tough decisions have to be made. I mean, with the donations declining, people not being there, if you're not used to the online giving way, you may not give at all. You know.
A lot of the older members are not used to this online giving. I mean, I'm not even used to the online giving, and I think these churches they're more successful when the worshipers are inside the church and they can collect the money from them when they're there. You mentioned 65% decline in giving, Chesley. I mean, that's a real fact that these churches are trying to grapple with. I mean, when's the best time to do this? I think that's what many churches are asking. When is the best time? Should we wait until there's a vaccine, or should we slowly get our members back in? And, we saw that happening in Marietta at one church over the weekend. They're slowly making some changes to get people back in the church, because there's nothing like worshiping in person. I think people are tired of being isolated at this point.
What kind of breaks my heart was that one line, Chesley, where he said our services are not going to be as intimate. When you're at a church service, you want to hug your brethren. You want to, that's fellowship. And it's been tough for the last 2 months to do. We've been having Sunday school classes by Zoom, and it's been online church services. And I want to see my fellow church members. And it kind of takes you, I don't know, out of the circle of your church fellow members. So it's just a tough thing all the way around.
Yeah, big time changes will be coming in the way we do baptism, communion, all those
Everything.
things, Yeah, so we'll see. We will see. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. Let's take a look at our forecast for today. You're looking at the rain coming down in some spots. Yeah.